Hello everyone, welcome to the Sam Fury Show. In this episode, Sam from samfury.com and Aventuras from sfnonfictionbooks.com discuss Chapter 3 of Profit First, written by Mike Michalowicz. Chapter 3 is titled The Naked Truth.
All right, let's dive deep into Chapter 3 of Profit First, The Naked Truth by Mike Michalowicz. This chapter really gets down to the nitty-gritty.
It does.
Of your business's financial health.
This chapter really challenges a lot of the assumptions that I think we make about business success, encouraging us to confront those sometimes uncomfortable financial realities.
Yeah, and it tackles that whole myth that we're all bombarded with.
Right.
Bigger is better in business.
Right. You know, we hear all those stories about unicorn companies just exploding onto the scene and having this massive growth, and you think that's the norm.
Yeah.
But as the chapter points out, those are the rare exceptions, not the rule.
And I bet chasing that kind of growth, like you mentioned, without a solid foundation can really backfire, especially if the focus is all wrong.
Oh, absolutely. Remember the whole dot-com bubble way back when in the late 90s?
Yeah.
So many companies focused on rapid expansion,
Right.
racking up huge revenues, but they weren't paying attention to their underlying profitability.
Yeah.
And then when the bubble burst,
Yeah.
many of them crashed and burned.
That's a pretty sobering example. It makes you wonder, how many businesses today are making that same mistake
Yeah.
of prioritizing growth over profits?
Yeah. And that's where the beauty of the profit first philosophy comes in.
Okay.
It flips the script and says, look, profit isn't an afterthought. It's the essential lifeblood of your business.
Okay, so it's not just about bringing in as much revenue as possible. It's about making sure a healthy chunk of that revenue actually turns into profit.
Exactly.
But how do you even know if your business is in a good place financially?
Right.
The chapter talks about this instant assessment.
It does. And that's a really powerful tool for getting a clear picture of your business's financial health. Think of it like a financial X-ray,
Ooh, I like that.
revealing any hidden issues that might not be immediately obvious.
So it's not just about looking at your bank balance. It's about really digging deeper.
Exactly, yeah. So the instant assessment dives into your income statement, breaks down your revenue and expenses to reveal your true profit margins.
Okay.
And remember, we've included a link to a free calculator based on this assessment in the show notes.
Awesome.
So you can easily try it out for your own business.
That's super helpful. But I got to admit, the name Insta Assessment makes me think of ripping off a Band-Aid. It's going to be quick, but maybe a little painful.
Well, there might be some uncomfortable truths revealed, but it's better to face them head on than to ignore them and risk bigger problems down the road.
For sure.
And the chapter does acknowledge that taking this assessment can feel different depending on whether you're just starting out or if you've been in business for a while.
Okay, so let's break that down. What's the advice for those brand new businesses, like under 12 months old? Where do they even begin with all this?
For them, the key is to start incorporating profit-first principles right away.
Okay.
It's like building good financial habits from day one.
Right.
Think of it as setting the foundation for a strong and healthy financial future.
So it's all about establishing the right mindset from the get-go.
Precisely. And the chapter actually lays out some specific target allocations
Okay.
for these new businesses to aim for. 1% for profit,
1%.
50% for the owner's pay, and 15% for taxes.
Wait, hold on. Only 1% for profit? That seems incredibly low. How can a business even survive on that?
I know, it might sound kind of counterintuitive,
Yes.
especially in that initial growth at all costs phase
Right.
many startups go through.
Yeah.
But remember, this is about shifting your mindset and getting into the habit of prioritizing profit from the very beginning. It's a symbolic gesture that sets the tone for how you view your business's finances.
So you're saying it's more about the principle of setting aside profit, even a small amount, than it is about the actual percentage at this early stage.
Exactly, yeah. Think of it as a seed that you're planting.
Okay.
You're not expecting a giant tree overnight, but with consistent nurturing, that seed can eventually grow into something substantial.
I love that analogy. So it's about creating that habit, that muscle memory of prioritizing profit, and then gradually increasing that percentage as the business grows.
You got it. It's about building that financial strength over time, step by step. The chapter even recommends adjusting those allocation percentages each quarter as your business matures and your revenue increases.
So it's not about being stuck at 1% profit forever. It's about using it as a starting point to train your business's financial muscles.
Exactly.
This is really making me rethink my own approach to finances.
That's the power of a good deep dive, right? It forces you to examine your assumptions and consider new perspectives.
Absolutely. But now I'm curious about the businesses that have been operating for a while, the ones who maybe didn't start with this profit-first mindset.
Yeah.
What's the advice for them, especially if that instant assessment reveals some, shall we say, less than ideal results?
Well, for those businesses, the chapter acknowledges that facing those numbers can be tough.
Yeah.
It can be a real wake-up call, especially if they've been prioritizing revenue over profit for years.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of, I wish I knew this sooner, going on at that point.
Probably, yeah. But the key message is this. It's never too late to turn things around. Even if your business isn't in the best shape financially, taking action, even small steps, can make a huge difference.
So what's a good starting point for these businesses? Where can they begin to shift their mindset and start prioritizing profit?
Well, the chapter recommends something surprisingly simple. Even if you can't implement the full profit-first system right away, at least set up a separate bank account specifically for profit.
Okay.
Then every time you make a deposit, move 1% of that money into that profit account.
So even if they're not ready to make any drastic changes, that small act of consistently setting aside 1% for profit can start to create a shift in their mindset.
Exactly. It's a tangible action that reinforces the idea that profit isn't an afterthought, it's a priority. And it's a way to start building that habit, even if it feels like a tiny step.
It's like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Precisely. And sometimes that first step is the hardest, but it's the one that sets everything in motion.
This is fascinating stuff. I'm already seeing how this profit-first approach can be a game changer for businesses at any stage.
It's about recognizing that profit isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It's the fuel that allows your business to grow, to thrive, and to ultimately achieve your long-term goals.
And it all starts with facing those financial realities head on, just like the chapter title suggests, the naked truth.
Right. Yeah. It really is about seeing your business's financial situation for what it is.
Yeah.
No sugarcoating, no illusions,
Wow.
just the raw data
Right.
that can then inform smarter decisions.
And what I find interesting is that this approach isn't about deprivation.
Right.
It's not about cutting corners or like sacrificing everything for the sake of profit.
You're right. It's not about penny pinching your way to success.
Right.
It's about making conscious,
Yeah.
deliberate choices about where your money goes.
So it's more about empowerment,
Yeah.
taking control of your finances rather than letting them control you.
Exactly. When you prioritize profit, you're essentially saying, my business deserves to be financially healthy. It's a form of self-respect,
Yeah.
both for you as the owner
Right.
and for the business itself.
And it seems like this chapter really emphasizes taking small, consistent actions
Yeah,
rather than making drastic overnight changes. It's not about finding some magic bullet, is it?
definitely not. Profit first is about building sustainable habits, not chasing quick fixes that fizzle out just as quickly as they appear. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Kind of like those crash diets that promise rapid weight loss but are almost impossible to maintain in the long run.
Exactly.
They might work temporarily, but they don't address the underlying issues.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Financial health, much like physical health, is about making gradual adjustments that over time lead to a stronger, more resilient system.
Okay, so we've been exploring these concepts in depth, but I'm curious about the practical side of things. Let's say someone listening is really intrigued by this profit-first idea, but isn't quite ready to overhaul their entire system. What are some tangible steps they can take right now to start incorporating these principles?
Well, as we mentioned, that 1% profit allocation is an excellent starting point. Just the act of setting up that dedicated profit account can have a surprisingly powerful psychological effect. It's a way to signal to yourself and to your business that profit matters.
It's like creating a physical representation of that commitment to profitability.
Exactly. It's more than just numbers on a screen. It's a concrete step that says, I'm serious about making my business profitable. And beyond that initial step, the
Yeah.
chapter hints at something else.
Okay.
That's crucial. Even though it doesn't go into too much detail yet,
Okay.
start paying closer attention to your expenses.
So it's about getting a little bit ruthless with those expenditures.
Not necessarily ruthless,
Okay.
but definitely more mindful
Yeah.
and intentional.
Okay.
Every expense should be scrutinized.
Right.
Ask yourself, does this directly contribute to my core business operations?
Mm-hmm.
Does it help me generate revenue or serve my customers? If not, it might be time to reconsider.
So it's about making sure every dollar you spend is working hard for you, just like every dollar you earn.
Exactly.
I feel like we've only scratched the surface of profit first, but it's already got me thinking differently about my own approach to business.
That's the beauty of these deep dives. They have the power to shift our perspectives
Yeah.
and inspire real, tangible change
Yeah.
in how we think and operate.
And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not just summarizing books and articles.
Yeah.
We're exploring those ideas
Mm.
that can help you live a more informed,
Right.
empowered, and, yes, dare I say, more profitable life.
Absolutely. It's about taking those nuggets of wisdom and applying them in a way that makes a real difference in your life and in your business.
So as we wrap up our exploration of Chapter 3 of Profit First, I want to leave our listener with a thought-provoking question to ponder. If the idea of consistently keeping just 1% of your revenue as profit
Yeah.
feels completely impossible right now,
Uh-huh.
what does that tell you about the current state of your business?
That's a powerful question.
It is.
It really challenges you to confront some of those deep-rooted assumptions you might have about how your business operates.
Right.
It forces you to ask yourself, why is it so difficult to prioritize even a small amount of profit?
And that leads to the next, even more critical question. What actions can you take, starting today,
Uh-huh.
to change that? Because awareness is only the first step.
You're right. It's about moving beyond simply understanding the concepts and actually putting them into practice.
And that, my friend, is the true essence of Profit First. It's not just about reading a book. It's about taking action, making those adjustments, and ultimately transforming your relationship with your business's finances.
Yeah, it's about taking ownership of your financial destiny and building a business that truly serves both your goals and your bottom line.
Beautifully put. It sounds like this chapter is just the tip of the iceberg.
It is.
When it comes to the Profit First philosophy.
There's so much more to explore,
Yeah.
from the nuances of allocating your income to practical strategies for controlling expenses. But this chapter lays the groundwork for that transformation.
It's like setting the stage for a whole new way of thinking about your business's finances.
It's about shifting from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance, not by magically creating more money, but by being more intentional and strategic with how you manage the money you already have.
I love that shift from scarcity to abundance. It feels empowering. You're taking control instead of constantly feeling like you're fighting an uphill battle.
That's exactly the feeling we want you to walk away with. And remember, we're here to support you on this journey.
We are, and on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into Chapter 3 of Profit First.
It's been a pleasure unpacking these powerful concepts with you.
The pleasure was all mine. It's been a fantastic exploration. As we wrap up, remember that you can find a link to that free instant assessment calculator in the show notes. It's a great way to start putting these Profit First principles into action right away.
Don't just listen, take action.
Yes.
Those small steps can make a world of difference.
wise words.
Thank you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the topics that matter to you.
We'll see you in the next deep dive.
Thanks for tuning in to The Sam Fury Show. If you found this episode useful, let us know with a like, follow, and share. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to visit samfury.com to get free access to all our original summaries, which you can download as PDFs, as well as other exclusive content. It's all completely free at samfury.com.